What is your favourite moment from internet history? A radio station here in Dallas had recently, mid-1990s, started streaming online. The announcer was describing how amazing it was to get emails from listeners from literally all over the world. Her favourite was two boys who liked the station's music, but what really fascinated them were the traffic reports. They'd spent their entire lives on some little island in the Pacific, and the thought of a line of cars several miles long absolutely blew their minds. I remember in the late 90s, early noughties, one of the radio stations in Phoenix got tricked into thinking all the members of Hanson, Mbop, had died in a car crash. This was late at night, and they were getting their information via fax, which obviously was a hoax. But at the time, my sister and I believed it. Not sure how true it was, but at one point, the DJ said a bunch of people were holding a candlelit vigil at one of the street corners near the radio station. Nowadays, if something like that happened, I'd just Google it. Kind of crazy to think about it. The launch of Gmail. 1 gigabyte of space? Totally. Remember when you had to be invited to use it? Yeah, invites were so valuable. You had 5 invites to give away. I had to choose who my best friends were very carefully. LimeWire. It was also responsible for giving the family computer AIDS, but boy did it download. The best was using LimeWire free to download LimeWire Pro. My computer was so slow that I'd start downloading a song before I went to bed, and it would still be downloading it when I woke up. I remember the night Princess Diana died. The news broke on the internet a few hours before it hit the news. It was crazy. Not necessarily my favourite moment, but stands out as the first real time I saw the potential of the internet to distribute information much faster than the news. Dude, yeah. I was an ICQ, and some said it in the channel. I told my parents, and they were like, "How do you know?" It popped up on the news a while later. Internet for the win, and it kept on winning. I also remember that day because the second ever episode of Star Trek Voyager was preempted by the Nothing New Happening live coverage of her death. They were just filling time and showing the same scene constantly. And because they didn't just rerun that episode, I actually missed it and didn't see it on the air again for several years. Honestly, I wish that there was some kind of law that would prevent TV shows from varying from the scheduled content unless war were declared. Early on YouTube, like 2007-ish, videos on it were more authentic and captured real life back then. Now it's literally a market. And the fact that you could have video responses to videos. Me and my friends used to make videos in 2007, and every single one would have a video response of just a black screen and a disguised voice saying he was coming to kill us. Freaked us out. Turns out it was one of our friends who was making videos with us the whole time. Our stupid selves really thought a stranger was stalking our 15-view videos. My favourite moment is when one guild in World of Warcraft held a gigantic memorial service for one of their people who stroked out and died. It was huge. There were dozens of people there, all just paying their respects. And then another guild came and crashed it. Don't get me wrong, it was a terrible thing they did. But it's hard not to crack up when the action starts to the tune of Scatman. And to be fair, holding any kind of event on a PvP server without posting guards or scouts is a big no-no, and begging for disaster. I'm actually fairly certain that if this was the memorial I'm thinking of, a lot of people also said afterwards that the person who died probably would have loved it, simply because they were really heavily into the PvP, player versus player aspect of World of Warcraft. Yep, that's the one, I think. All I really remembered was that person who died was female. There was a time when the internet felt like the Wild West. Corporations were largely ignoring it, and people were making all sorts of content out of passion, not because they wanted to make money. It felt like all digital products and information in the entire world was available for free through either torrent or the Usenet. Along with the great availability came great risk. If you weren't smart, a song downloaded could end up being a virus that wiped your hard drive. You could easily hack websites and often even databases and systems, The government was pretty ignorant about all of it, so if you were even moderately careful and not attacking important government sites or financial institutions, it was very low risk. I never did any black hat stuff, but I loved finding exploits and poking around systems as an unauthorized user. Blogging wasn't evolved yet, so everyone made really awful websites full of great content. The internet as a whole was about concepts and ideas, not people and products. Of course, as more people started getting online, the companies started paying attention, and then came MySpace. After MySpace was created, normal everyday people started flocking to the internet. With this massive influx of users came new laws and new advertising. The new content was now commercial when it wasn't egotistical. So, I suppose for me, that moment of internet history I love the most is right before MySpace became popular. It was probably best about 2 years before MySpace, when we were taking on DRM, the RIAA, the MPAA, and corporations in general, and feeling like we were winning. Anonymous was active and seemed untouchable. People all across the globe were helping NASA search for extraterrestrial life in a giant hive project called SETI. Everything felt new and free. As an aside, supernova.org and their related forum and IRC was badass. I made a bunch of friends there that I kept in contact with for years. A lesser known one, but I still love it. Samsung had a new phone out, and you got a $50 Play Store credit for buying said phone. Samsung hired out the promotion to a no-name company. Go to their site, enter the IMEI, like a serial number, name, email, and they email you a code for a $50 Play Store credit. Well, IMEIs are sequential. Plus, you can easily grab one from an eBay auction. This was a planned 4-month promotion with 30,000 $50 credits to be given out. Yes, $1,500,000 in Google Play Store credits. And they were all gone within 2 days. People were grabbing a couple of hundred each and eBaying them at half off. I saw one guy's eBay account. He made like $3,000 via selling them. Slick deals. Those guys will ruin any promotion possible. I can't remember all the details, but there was also an eBay Christmas promotion where you would get $1 every hour by finding one special auction. To this date, I still don't know how they did it, but there were only a few people who ran a script or something like that which found the auction. They must have made tens of thousands because the promotion ran days before eBay noticed that something was wrong. Weirdly enough, I can't find proof of this whole story anymore. It's like it never happened. 4chan sending Taylor Swift to the school for the deaf, followed closely by Pitbull to Alaska, and of course the ultimate dog tease always holds a place in my heart. For me, it was when they sent Justin Bieber to North Korea. Also, does anybody remember Mountain Dew's infamous gushing granny incident? Wasn't the top winner at one point Hitler did nothing wrong? 1994. Got AOL in high school and was pretty depressed. An unknown 15FTX literally saved my life by talking to me all night long and wouldn't let me sign off and take some pills. She even PM'd me every day for the next 2 years to make sure I had someone to look forward to talk to and listen. Best damn friend and internet moment I could have asked for. Maybe not historical, but the most important internet moment in my history. To answer a couple of questions, no, we never met in person, but she knows why. We kept in touch for a long time and really just grew apart. No hard feelings, it just happened. It doesn't change what she did or what it meant. No, it's not a fake. There are some things that we just can't say in person. I had a great upbringing and have a wonderful family. I didn't want to disappoint them with my thoughts of myself as a teen. I was lucky that a complete stranger listened on the right day, and I had access to the tool that made it possible, even with my 28.8 modem. YouTube before Google bought it. Remember when people didn't make money, or at least not very much, off of their YouTube videos? They just did it because it was fun. I remember that for a long time, YouTube was basically a bunch of sketch comedy, music videos, and illegal movies being posted in 8 different parts. Old Flash animations. I remember watching them on newsgrounds at friends' houses and in my dorm. All Your Base Are Belong to Us, Magical Trevor, Catface, The Llama Song, The Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny. There were so many, and they were just for us, you know? Songs, stories and videos just for us internet people. I could say badger, badger, badger to a friend, and they wouldn't go, and they would go mushroom, mushroom. And people who were not internet people would look at us like we had just grown second heads. But a fellow internet person would go, ah, snake, a snake, ooh, it's a snake. And we'd make a new friend maybe. The news that Flash is no longer being supported as of the end of this year, I didn't expect to feel as sad about that as I do, but that's a piece of my youth I actually will miss. Did any of you all have favourite Flash animations from sites like Albino Black Sheep or Newsgrounds? Twitch plays Pokemon when it first started. It was such a revolutionary thing, and everyone was watching to see how it would go. Anticipation for other applications of the concept ran high. Unfortunately, it was just a short fad, and nothing more. It also sparked such an intricate lore in that short time. Praise Helix. My favourite part of the lore was when Red gets to the end, all of the voices in his head stopped and he was finally able to be at peace. And then he returned in Gen 2 using the exact same team. So unreal. One of the first message boards I was on was the Wolf Web. It was for NC State students, staff, faculty. In 2004 we had a huge snowstorm and the news stations were showing the local closings and delays. Members of the Wolf Web found out that Spectrum News wasn't screening their closing submissions. So a bunch of users decided to exploit it. They submitted fake closings and a bunch of them made it on air. Some of my favourites were Colonel Angus Chicken, open 6 to 9, Mike Hunt Enterprises, third Shaft report Saturday morning, Watkins Family Reunion Service, Holler APN NIS, Cecil's Cockring Emporium, back up by tomorrow. 4chan, locating the "He will not divide us" flag by looking at flight patterns and star constellations. Man, those guys are insane. I remember reading something a while back about how they solved some ridiculous mathematical problem by the author phrasing it as an anime post. The day the impossible was done in EverQuest. The Sleeper was killed, and on a PvP server no less. Having been there, was at a friend's house as he was a part of it since I played on a blue server at the time, it was an amazing and one-of-a-kind event that changed gaming history. Early MMOs were a one-of-a-kind experience that can't be recreated. World of Warcraft Classic is good, but not the same, ever again. The whole, all these characters are real people, this is awesome, was a unique experience. MMOs came at the perfect time when the internet was good enough for multiplayer gaming, but still a relatively niche thing that only nerds used. AOL Instant Messenger being the hub of internet communication. But once MySpace came in, it was crazy how fast things changed forever. When Hotmail was a 2 megabyte inbox service. That was actually not cool. Jump to Gmail after that. When Kanye West had one of his first public meltdowns on Twitter, it seemed like everyone I know, who stays up past 11 PM anyway, was live tweeting or posting about it, just watching the epic train wreck in progress. I remember just before his album The Life of Pablo came out, and he has like 25 tweets all labelled in order. That's the one I remember. Also, when he mentioned he might make an album called TurboGrafx 16, and then the value of the console with the same name went up for a week or so by a bunch. John Titor. I know it's been pretty much wholly debunked at this point, and the guy behind it turned out to be some lawyer in Florida, but there was one thing about it that always interested me. When John Titor was contemporary, another thing going on at the time was the mystery and speculation surrounding this secret invitation with the codename Ginger. According to the people behind Ginger, it was going to be as huge a step as the internet. I'd argue that the development and perfection of touchscreen technology has had an equal impact on the internet, but I'm rambling. Someone asked Titor what Ginger was, and he correctly described Ginger as an electric two-wheeled scooter, and Ginger was eventually revealed to be the Segway. He went on to say that it didn't amount to much and was pretty much all hype. I mean, I know the whole thing was a work, but who could have seen the Segway coming? Even if he was just very adept at identifying trends and reading into hints, he also accurately predicted the general, whatever attitude the Segway was greeted with. Sometimes I'll go back through the original Titor posts and see if there's anything else like that. Of course, we should now be 5 years removed from Titor's civil war, so that was a flop.